Hey YouTube, what's going on? So today's video is a coaching session that I had with a Diamond Zerg player on using the Roach Ravager Swarmhost composition against Mech. He had a lot of issues with being aggressive, so we went over how to use the composition that he's choosing, as well as picking your engagements and just slowly killing a Mech army with Swarmhost. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like it if you liked it, and I'll see you guys in the coaching session. See ya. So the way we normally do coaching here is go into the replays. I made you the party leader, so you open the replay, watch with others, but then when we're in the lobby, you make me the lobby host so I can control it. Whoa, I think I just got a follow while I'm not even streaming because I have my obs open. I just heard it. That's funny. Nice. Yeah. Okay, so make me the lobby host. Awesome. So let's go into this. So I assume we're just going to be focusing on ZvT for the most part.
Well, actually, yeah. Well,
I mean, we can go through several different things. It's just a question. You said your main issues were
my ZvTs. ZvT is actually my best matchup, but then I've just been having a hard time with it recently. I wanted to get some ZvT or ZvZ, but I rarely get those for some reason. I keep getting the ZvTs.
Oh, interesting.
The past few days of the play.
Alright, so you're going for... Oh, you told me to check out that opening. Okay, so let's go check that out first. I just want to get an idea of what we're looking for here. Okay. So do you have the replay of that?
I sent you the replay pack, I believe.
The replay pack?
Yeah. Okay. I do have the replays. I don't know how you post them not from the Starcraft app though.
Okay. Then I'll just go through it and I'll share my screen with you. How does that sound?
Alright, that's fine.
Okay. Just take a quick look. It's the replay pack. Snooper.
You could probably do the ZvT Roach Lurker into Mack. I'm not sure.
So that's the one I'm looking for?
ZvT push or ZvT push against Biomine. Either way. Probably push against Biomine would be better because that's probably the place I'm looking for. Okay,
I actually can't open that. I can't open that. I don't have the stuff to open it with. That's unfortunate. Could you just send me the replay by itself? Could you just drag it into Discord?
I can do that.
So, obviously I'm fine with going over time to check this out. Do you have the time afterwards?
I believe it, yeah.
Yeah, we can go like 10-20 minutes over time. No huge rush. I want to make sure I have a good understanding of what you're trying to do. Okay. Okay. Oh, wait, which one did you send me? Or which one is the one with the opener?
Both of them. You decide which one, but
okay, open the first one.
ZvT push against Biomine is probably the kind of style I'm going for.
Okay. So you can see my screen?
Yep.
Alright. Just gonna watch it from the barcode's point of view. Sorry, Aesop's point of view. So 13. He goes for a 13 hatchery.
I actually adjusted this opener a bit. So it's 13 hatch, and the guy who made this does 13 pool. I prefer 14 pool because it times out better. Like if you look at this, if you look at the 13 pool, it's gonna time out earlier than the hatch, which I don't think is really a good thing because we're not gonna make lanes off this. We're just gonna make queens off this.
So the idea is to get like faster creep spread out and faster larva production.
Early on, yeah, but you're not gonna get a third or fourth base because you're not gonna get speed. You're not gonna have link speed in time.
I'm not a big fan of gasless in general because there's a lot of weaknesses of it.
Yeah.
You're not getting Ling speed, so when it comes to dealing with Hellions, if they do any sort of Hellion pressure and you're not fully walled, then you're gonna have some issues. Like they do a Hellion drop, for example. It's not a thing.
Yeah, that's happened. Usually you can hold with the amount of queens here, and
This
I
is
normally want to do this in ZvZ because the creep's just so far out. It can hold 12 cool, 13, 12, etc. It can hold really well. Normally I just want to do this in ZvZ, but I do want to have this in my back pocket.
okay. Well, you can already hold those with a standard
With
build.
hatch first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suck at doing it.
Well, the only way to get better is to do it more. And it
Yeah,
feels
that's
like
true.
there's a lot of. Maybe I'm not the. Maybe it's because I'm not a gases connoisseur, but this opener just seems weak. I want to see how this evolves, though. I want to see. It goes into Roach, as you said. So maybe this could be actually really
Well,
good.
this is what he did. I like going roaches too.
And what level is this
But this
player?
can go into Lingbait. He's Grandmaster.
He is?
Yep.
Waysop, you say?
Yeah.
Alright.
Right now his MMR is in Grandmaster, but it has the Master one.
Yeah. Just doesn't have the games played. I see. This is very odd. I'm not sure what to think of this.
Yeah.
I know I would
So-
feel very uncomfortable because you can't really get much map
Yeah.
control. But you're playing very defensive here.
Yeah. We did compare this to Standard. There is a drone boost early, but it has a downfall without the third base.
Yeah, the
right?
third base is pretty huge.
The guy who made this opener does a double expand, which we found kind of weird. So we wanted to go push off of this and then expand. Like, we wanted to see how it would go. Sadly, he didn't wall off, so he took the drone damage. This isn't the only opener I do. I do this. I've only started recently doing this one.
I don't think I'd be able to help you too much with this type of opener. I don't know exactly how it works, so I wouldn't be able to tell you how to improve its efficiency. But I can definitely focus on other stuff. Just letting you know
Alright.
ahead of time.
Alright, that's fine.
'Cause
I believe I have a replay where I do my normal full first opener. That one's fine, right?
Okay, yeah, we can check that out. I just want to see more of this because I want to see the pros and cons. So what do you? Oh, actually, it's a rare case. Never mind.
Usually, so the idea that I did off of this is to taxi queens and do a Ravager push off of this because you have like the early 4 gas, the early upgrades, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, in the replay I was gonna show you that didn't really work out as well. It worked out other times, but I'm still testing the tweets. So.
Okay, so it's 7 minutes. This is about the time where a big marine tank push hits, and it's even quicker on this map. He has a bunch of Ravagers, but I'm not sure how great this is against a lot of Marines.
But he has
He doesn't
Yes,
have any
people.
drones, really. The drone count is extremely low. Like, you have a lot of
yeah,
Ravagers,
that's
yeah.
the problem with this
but-
build.
I cannot... This is very strong early. Oh, he's also going mines, too. So this is, like, really good for this...
Yeah, for the setup.
yeah. This is like an all-in. You have the same drone count as an all-in, basically. It feels.
Yeah,
And you have faster
You could
upgrades,
have
and that is the whole idea of roaches. You
Yeah.
want to be ahead in upgrades. What MMR is the opponent here? I'd like to see this against like a Grandmaster Terran.
actually, I'm not sure what the MMR of the opponent was at this time. I wasn't here for that part of the stream. But this is his main account, right? So
Yeah, it could be a custom game around rank though. There just seem to be a few issues with this. Like, this could be decent as an all-in, I think, because you're also, like, you're playing hyper defensive. But if the opponent scouts that it's going to be like a roach-based composition, they can go double factory tanks and be super safe and ahead in workers, which you don't usually want as Zerg, the Terran being ahead in workers. And you'll be kind of struggling against the tanks. Ravagers do kind of counter tanks in a way, but once it's like tank, marauder, marine, medevac, it gets very, very dicey with roach-based compositions, unless you can take a fight in the middle of a map before they're sieged. Luckily, the opponent here went for mines quickly. He went for reactor mines, it seemed. So this was actually like a kind of like a coin flip, and it's still cutting it pretty close too.
Yeah.
Looking at the worker counts, I mean, it's 9 minutes in, 59 workers.
Yeah.
This is definitely not something I would do. I guess I can just say it that way, because it doesn't fit my playstyle. Like I more try and play off of a higher economy.
Yeah, I can work with that stuff.
But this definitely has its strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, safe early on, for sure. And it has the potential to just kill the enemy outright if they don't have the right composition. They don't scout it.
Yeah.
Cons, weak economy. If you don't kill them with your attack, you're basically in just a huge losing position.
Yeah.
And if they go marauders, because sometimes marauder marine is something that people do off of 3 base as well with their push. So that would also, I feel, would fail. Or, I mean, would beat this type of thing. Ideally, now you'd like to have a 4th base. The upgrades being really quick are really good, though. I like that. If you got an infestation pit faster, then you could go into 3-3 quicker, which you'd have to have that momentum for it. But the issue is you can't really get 3-3 in a hive quickly because you're spending a lot of your money on the Roach Ravager, and you don't have the economy in order to actually spend money in both your army and get the upgrades. So this seems like a very good mid-game type thing that counters some Bioterran stuff for sure. And I imagine if you're playing against Mech, you'd mix in some Zerglings against the siege tank heavy comps with a queen pull as well. Okay, all right. Anyways, I think I spent too much time on that. I don't want to take up too much extra time of yours. Okay. Can't say I'm the biggest fan of it, but again, I can definitely see some of its uses. I will stop sharing my screen.
It's not a problem. I did use that opener in this game, but I will need like help with that because I don't have a plan for ZvT. I do that opener, I think that's fine for the opener, right? Because I'm gonna do a 2-base setup anyway.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'd have to play against it in order to properly be able to tell. But I feel like that loses out, just like every gasless, against a standard 2-base roach. So the standard 2-base roach timing, where you go a faster layer and you get +1 attack and roach speed really quickly, just beats that, because you also expand on the back of it while you're moving out. So you also get a faster third with the standard 2-base roach.
I guess I'll just learn standard 2-base roach.
Yeah, if I was playing against that, I would not like go for a Ling Bane all in. I would go for well, since I normally get a 3rd base at a decent time, I would just play 3-base roach, and I think I would beat that very one-sidedly. So it also is really good against Ling Bane all-ins, like really good. So if you're playing in like a tournament, for example, against a player like that, then like who does all-ins a lot, that is, I think, It could be a very good build. But if you're playing against like a random person, like on ladder, I think playing standard into roaches is just better if you're trying to play roaches in ZvZ. Or going for a standard 2-base roach build like Mick Monroe's that he made a while ago.
Like, wait, so you think standard like Ling Bane into Roach would be better?
Maybe not even Ling Bane into Roach. You could do the Korean opener where they go an earlier Roach Warren instead of a Baneling Nest. But Ling Bane into Roach is something I do a decent amount. Again, 2-base Roach, definitely an option there.
How would they do the Korean order?
You'll have to search that up. I'll search it up as well, actually. But it's pretty. The idea is pretty simple. You just get a Roach Warren instead of a Baneling Nest. And you have to make sure you get your Roach Warren at a decent time, because if you don't, then Ling Bane can kill you. But if you get your Roach Warren at a proper time, you are usually very safe against Ling Bane, because roaches are pretty good against Zerglings and Banelings, as we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I scout this as gasless by my Link scouts, then I know I can just win the game. Like right now, my lair would be starting. If I was playing ZvZ, because you said you do the same opener in ZvZ.
Yeah, usually I try to deny scouting in ZvZ. I wall off or get queens and lings on the ramp.
Yeah, sometimes though that doesn't happen 100% of the time though. Sometimes they can get in through whatever means, like an overlord while he's poking with his lings. Because all they need to do, they don't need to scout behind your mineral line. All they need to do is scout the gases and see that, okay, he's doing nothing. That can scare me right now. And I know his tech level is really low because he doesn't have any gas. So all he can make right now is queens and slow Zerglings. So I would just make a lair, go for a Roach Warren, or even mute us. Because I would have a lair really quickly, much quicker than you. And then I could go to a high drone count safely, and then I'm 3-base, full saturation nearly, and you're 2-base. And we have similar units and upgrades. I have faster roach speed, though, and +1. Or maybe not +1, but I would have faster roach speed for sure. And that's a huge part of roaches.
Well,
but we are
crafting for me failed.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to talk about theory crafting and the weaknesses and strengths of this type of thing. I would definitely be confused. I will say that. If I saw this as a Zerg, I would definitely be confused. And okay, the Hellion run by doing a lot of damage.
I did not
blue flame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think if you're doing this and you know it's a Hellion opener, I actually think walling, putting your 2 evos at the front is the thing to do. Because if they go past your units and you don't have like a full wall here, or you don't have a wall that blocks them, if they go past your Queen Roach into your main base, they can just kill everything there. Because your Roaches and Queens are pretty slow. Yeah. They're not going to be able to catch up to the Blue Flame Hellions, which will annihilate your mineral line in just like a couple of seconds. So having the Evos down at this choke here, especially on this map, you can really do that easily. And just putting 2 queens there to block is a really good idea. Now, your supply is... The supply is in your favor right now.
The drone count is abysmal.
Yeah, that's because roaches are pretty...
They're also fat supply,
they're cheap and they take up a lot of supply. So your supply is a bit inflated through roaches. You only have 32. Ooh. He went for, like... Not even a greedy build, too. He went for just like a pretty aggressive opener.
Yeah.
And he still has more workers than you. It's kind of concerning. This would definitely be a bad position for me. I would push right now, though. So you did deal with the Hellions, and since you dealt with the Hellions, that a decent amount of Hellions, you saw that he went Blue Flame too.
Yeah.
You know that he can't really have too much else, because the gas to... You saw he had a lot of Hellions, which means he definitely has a reactor. You saw they had Blue Flame, so he definitely had a factory with a tech lab as well.
Yeah.
That's a lot of gas. He's probably not going to have a starport, and we can actually see he does not have a starport yet.
Yeah.
So if you go across, you don't really need to worry about a Banshee. The only thing you need to worry about maybe is siege tanks. You could just probably kill him here, as long as you have an Overlord nearby to see the high ground. So this is something I would do. After taking that damage,
sure what I did here, but I do push out, I believe.
Also getting Roach Speed. You need Roach Speed if you're going Roaches. Even if you're getting the upgrades there, you have the might to get Roach Speed. You want to get that pretty quickly.
I forgot Roach Speed for a while.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Even still, though, with slow Roaches, you can definitely get across the map at a decent time. Make some Ravagers over on the other side of the map. And then kill him, probably.
So this was the push I was thinking.
Okay. So you are a bit slow now, but you are doing the... I like what you're doing with the Queens here. This is a good idea. Can't Roach Speed, though. Ooh, that's hurting you. That's going to hurt you big time against tanks.
Yeah.
But you do have some Ravagers. The thing I would do before you send in your Ravagers, though, is send in the Overlord first. Because there's no way he has anti-air. Unless he makes some Marines, but, like... Probably didn't really make Marines because you see the barracks is floating. So you're usually fine to just send in the Overlord because of two things. First, you can get high ground vision quicker.
Yeah.
Because if he has a tank on the high ground at his ramp, then that's going to be kind of tough to deal with until you get up that ramp if you don't have high ground. And that's going to be able to kill like a bunch of your units until then. And also, it just lets you know if there's siege tanks set up, so you can wait for the rest of your units to go in. And then you can also know where the tanks are to bile them quickly.
This is kind of unfortunate. I wish I pushed out right before the other two tanks popped up.
Yeah. So now your attack has lost its tempo. You could have done this attack about a minute earlier, though.
Yeah.
Let's go back. You like being aggressive, so you should start trying to find out when you can be. And when you clean up a lot of aggression, when your enemy throws away all their units, I actually wouldn't say they're throwing this away because they get a lot of kills. But when they lose all of their attacking units, that's an opening for you to do a counterattack a lot of the time. This is especially true in Zerg versus Protoss, where they lose like all of their tech units in an attack. You can usually just counterattack and kill them. When you see what unit he has attacking you, again, he had Blue Flame and he had a lot of Hellions. That automatically tells you double factory and a lot of gas spent on just getting Hellions out by making the factories and whatnot. So there's not going to be any Banshees for a while. So you can, after cleaning those up, if you go immediately across the map with the Roaches, because you already had some gas banked up, you'd actually be hitting with 1-1, a nice timing attack. And you'd be hitting before he has the opportunity to get more siege tanks out, which is another very important thing. After losing those units, he's going to be putting the pedal on making stuff to let him survive. So you want to try and hit before he has enough of that to not take any damage from you. So you'd be hitting right now when he only had the one tank out. You'd kill the tank, he has the other one out, then you kill that immediately after, and then you win the game.
Yeah.
That's the chain of events that I saw.
Very unfortunate.
But you waited a bit too long to move out.
Yeah.
You still had the same idea, but you seemed a bit indecisive.
Yeah.
You're making a bunch of drones, then you go across with a bunch of roaches. Which, in general, it is a good idea to do something with your army if you overmake defensive units. But you definitely don't want to wait too long to make an attack. Counterattacking is a huge part of winning when you're trying to be the aggressor. This queen drop I like. It would have been much better to put in the mineral line, though. Much better to go right for the mineral line.
I was planning to do that until the Marine was there. Sadly.
Well, that's not going to really do much for you.
That is not good.
So now all I would try and do from here is just delay this base as long as possible.
Yeah, that was
So-
the idea.
Well, I mean, you still can. With the units you have right now, you can still delay him. You just drop the queens here, spread creep, put a creep tumor down. Have your Ravagers not, like, staying out of range of the siege tanks. Keep them... See where your Overlord is, the Dropper Lord on the left side?
Yeah.
So just, like, a bit underneath that. So a bit, like, in between the Hellion and the Overlord is a place where you could, like, have your Ravagers to...
Biling down.
stop him from putting down the base, and to push his units back if he tries to send his Hellions in or whatnot to try and do some damage to you, or Hellbats. Because his siege tanks are most likely going to be on the high ground, like that one in his base, or they're going to be around this small bend here. And you want to stay away from that, but you also want to delay the space as long as possible, while also getting your economy up at home. Doing the double expand, I like that, because you have the money to do it anyways. Good thing to do. 2-2 could have been started. You're getting an infestation pit before you get 2-2. Usually it's the other way around. Because when you get 2-2 started, if you put down an infestation pit around that time, and then you make your hive when the infestation pit finishes, you can start 3-3 pretty fluidly after your 2-2 finishes. So I feel like I'm saying finish a lot, but... So now you're in a situation where you're Roach Ravager against a Mech composition. So I'm going to watch from your point of view, and I want to see what you do. Your idea is good. Going to Hive is a very good thing to do, and you should try and do that as soon as possible against Siege Tank Heavy comps. Or I mean, you should just get the Infestation Pit. Not necessarily Hive, because you can go Swarmhosts, which are very good against Siege Tanks. That's probably what you do.
Yeah.
And that's a very good thing to do, for sure.
My problem is I don't know how to position them, especially with all these turrets here and all that.
Okay. How to position them.
Like, and where to throw locals with.
Why do the turrets kind of push you away there? Like, what are you scared about the turrets for?
It's not really just the turrets yet. He has this big setup here with mines, tanks, and
He has one Widow Mine.
just sits back. Oh yeah, that's true.
The thing is, whenever you kill some things with Swarmhosts, you're basically getting free value.
Yeah.
So even if you like kill a few workers, the turrets, a Widow Mine, and a Siege Tank or some Hellions, force a lift off from the CC, that's free damage you just did. That's pretty significant too. Because you're not spending any more money to do that. You already got your Swarmhosts out. You can continuously do stuff like that. Okay, so now we're getting 13 Swarmhosts. You have to be, right now, with your Ravagers that you do have out, you have to be slowing down his Siege Tank push by like going in, doing a little dance, attacking his units a bit, throwing down some biles, forcing him to siege up and not get a good position early, because that'll buy you a lot of time. That's a general thing you want to be trying to go for. Basically what you're doing now, except a little bit earlier. Even if you have a few...
So I do end up tossing this base. Like, I just evacuate the drones because...
Sacrifice the base.
No way
Good
in hell.
decision to do.
Yes, I do the Swarmhost.
So now you have a bunch of queens. Queens are really good for tanking tank shots, but you want to send them in when you send your army in. Okay. Ooh, you're clumping up your units a lot. Got to use the biles on cooldown. You do clean up this army, and your opponent wasn't really macroing on the back of that.
Yeah, so now I'm ahead in drones.
Yeah, so now you're kind of in the driver's seat this game.
Yeah.
Better Overlord spread
The
could help you out a
Hellion
lot.
Kind of screws me again.
Yeah, better Overlord spread, as I said, and watching your minimap can help you a lot with dealing with this type of thing.
Yeah. No, actually, it doesn't screw me that much.
Oh, wow. It only kills like 5 drones. Nice.
6.
That siege tank, though. Very ambitious.
Okay, so I do this thing in my games where I do a free taxi, but he was attacking me, so I couldn't really take abuse of it. It's on the left-hand side of his base.
Oh, yeah. That's a good thing to do. I really like that. That's always a good thing to do. You just don't see a lot of people doing it because it just takes up extra actions and attention.
Yeah. Normally I get to do it, but I was eating a lot of the shots in the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad.
You can definitely do that just random places around the map too. Not only
Yeah.
it doesn't just have to be on a base, you can just do it anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it'll help you out. When you're spreading your creep, try and spread it only to the edges if you can. You don't want to rapid fire because sometimes you might just like make a lot of them very close and then wasting a lot of creep tumors and spreading your creep slowly. This is much better. So you should, now that you have your Swarmhosts out, you should be just using them right away.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be scared of these missile turrets because you can kill them all with one round of Locusts. Then he has to rebuild them. Spending a lot of money and losing mining time for that. You're not being as active with the Swarmhosts. I'm not really a Swarmhost user, but I know that you definitely have to continuously use them in order to make them actually worth it. Constant aggression with these, basically. You're going for it now, but you're actually not going for it, it seems. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, I just kind of threw it down here. It sadly didn't achieve me. Why didn't I throw it? Oh, I was timing it with this bush.
Yeah,
But that
this
was
is
not
actually a
gonna
good thing to do, kind of.
And I was
Like
waiting for the rest of the Swarmhost.
forcing some multitasking out of the opponent could force some mistakes. However, you also want to be very
I
careful
didn't
with your
have
army.
a lot of-
It festers. I like it. What is that scan that he does? It's so
I have
weird.
no idea.
That is so weird. I think he was looking for like a Nidus. Okay, so now you have all these locusts here. You shouldn't use them all. So another thing to do with Swarmhost, if there's one unit there, don't send them all on to that unit. Don't let the locusts automatically go towards it. Select the
I tried to
locusts.
double-click it, it didn't work.
You can control click as well. Do you know what
How do
control
you do
clicking
that?
is? So you can actually do that right now. Test it out. Press control and then click anything. Like creep tumors, for example, or the Swarmhost.
Okay.
That selects all units in your view.
Oh, okay.
I briefly go
So,
over this in
like,
my mechanics video,
Yeah.
but it's very useful when selecting your locusts. So you can also box them as well. Drag and box select. You don't need to double click them. Double clicking is probably the hardest way to do this, to select these.
Yeah.
It's much quicker to just like box select and then right click. Again, let's just take a look at that again. Yep, use those.
Yeah, so here I tried to.
And then you want to box immediately and right click. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they aggro too quickly onto that? So you didn't have time to double click. Double clicking is the slowest way to select all the units that you can. Aside from maybe shift clicking every single individual unit. Didn't get much damage done. But if you fly them in, next time you will. Cooldown's almost halfway done. You can also go right here. This is another great spot to send them in. You don't have to just necessarily go from these two areas, which I think is what you're trying to do. Going from any ledge with the locust wave is just useful. Especially this one, I think. It's kind of like the least defended part of the third base. And you can get onto the siege tanks pretty easily. Okay, so now you're trying to get something done. Ooh.
I accidentally closed.
Microbial Shroud, seeing some use maybe? But for his units?
It's so PM.
Oh, you got it. Got it.
It's
No.
just
Kill
so
the tank,
sad.
though. Killed the tank. So let's take a look at how you could have done that fight better.
Yeah. So sad. I really feel like I could have taken
Oh,
that.
whoops. Pause. So, one thing right off the bat. You send your roaches and ravagers in before the locusts.
Yeah, that is true.
You want to send the locusts in first, and you kind of want to make it so they don't A-move onto his army. You don't want to make it so they go in front of that Thor right there. That makes them very easy to be cleaned up with splash through Hellions or siege tanks. The main strength of the Swarmhost is in fights like this is the ability to get on top of the whole army, force maybe a lot of friendly fire, and get within the range of the siege tanks and kill them all really easily. So, the way I would have taken this fight is I would have, before going in with the Roach Ravager, right here, maybe right here even, a bit forward, use the Locust Wave, select it, move command the Locust over to around like this siege tank right here. The one on the bottom out of those three.
Yeah.
And then split up the Locust to attack. Because that way they'll get onto that whole part there. It's drawing away some of the siege tank fire from your main army as well. So when you send in your army, as the Locusts dive in, you're not taking as much damage on your actual expensive units. And you're allowing them to get into range to do their damage too. But then when you do, you just let the Locusts go in the front. They're doing something, but they could actually just kill everything.
Yeah.
Maybe not everything, but they could do a lot of damage. And if you see, you're also not running away after the Locusts are all dead. You don't do that all the time, of course, but when you're in a losing fight, sometimes it's best to just cut your losses and go. And wait for the next wave of Locusts to go in. I would have ran away much earlier than this. I would not fight till the last Ravager. Because all I need to do is wait for the next wave of Locusts, which is going to be in about 20 seconds. And then I go in again. Locust tanking everything by going in first. And then the Ravagers and Roaches come in to clean up, basically. If he still has units surviving, pull out the Ravagers and Roaches as when it starts to look like I'm losing the fight. And then just keep doing that over and over again. That's the strength of the Swarmhost. They can be really cost efficient because they don't die, and only the Locust, the free unit, dies. So you can keep using them over and over again and getting free value out of that, kind of covering your main army's ass in a fight. They're not losing as much. You're not losing as much mineral or resources, and whenever you have some units dying, but you're still getting a lot of damage done. You're doing the thing with the Queen. I like it. He has a lot of Liberators. Wow. Your Hive, so you should be getting your 3/3 because you have the money for it. You're going for Broodlords, it seems. Okay.
Yeah. This is actually a decision that kills me later. Because I forgot that the Liberators existed and I turned them all into Broodlords.
Ah, yeah. Okay. So,
which was really sad because I think I could have won with those.
Broodlords can have some use if they're going really heavy tank compositions like this guy. So this is actually a situation where you could go Broodlords. Just as long as you keep some Corruptors alive, and you make sure you get the armor upgrades against very heavy Liberator counts.
These scans are so...
I mean...
These scans are catching everything.
Yeah, you showed your units in the sensor tower range.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And now, right now, you should just be trying to run the Swarmhost away now. Send them towards the siege tanks that you see with your creep. It seems that you're just letting the Locusts again do whatever. And then your Ravagers should be trying to kill the Liberators with the Corrosive Vials. Like, this is actually, like, the easiest cleanup of your life if you just send the Locusts over towards the siege tanks.
Yeah.
Because the Hellbats are very far away from the siege tanks, so they won't really be able to defend them against the Locusts. Going for the Locusts, though, is you're going to kill, like, maybe 1-2 Hellbats. Because the siege tanks are in range, and the Hellbats are tanky, and they have a nice AoE. Make sure you're using your vials on the Liberators and not spraying them all in one spot. So this is a situation where rapid fire is actually kind of bad. If you use all of your biles and you have more than 3 Ravagers, you're reducing the amount of Liberators you can kill every round of biles that you have. You can kill 2 Liberators per volley, like 2 Liberators every whatever the cooldown is, 8 seconds, I think. But instead, you're just shooting all of them in one spot, effectively reducing the maximum amount you can do. You want to try and...
7.
Yeah, click it, just like you did there. That's exactly what you want to be doing in these situations. And you want to be using rapid fire more on stationary targets that are higher HP. Like buildings, battlecruisers and carriers sometimes, void rays even. Stuff like that. So now your Swarmhost on the other side of the map, and you haven't used Locust in a while.
I was gonna use them against this tank setup, I believe. I'm not sure. So here I go for this.
Well, I can tell you that you can kill all of these siege tanks with just these Swarmhosts.
Yeah, with just this one.
So let's see what happens here. Oh, yep. You really got to start controlling the Locust. That's a consistent thing I'm seeing now. We'll go through the unit tester for a moment after this. And we'll take a look. Because yeah, you have a good composition against Mech. You're just not controlling it well. Your ideas are good. Your macro is pretty decent. Now that you're in a longer game, you just need to have better map control, and you also have to know exactly how to control the army you're using. Once you get that down, though, you're going to be destroying players like this easily. But it will take a decent amount of practice to get used to. Oh, you're fighting... Wait, the microbial! Oh my gosh! I totally forgot about that. That's so great. That's amazing. I love it.
It's a good spot.
Wow, an actual good use for microbial outside of carriers. I'm so glad that I saw that. You are magnificent. You did not lose as much as you should have there.
My
is great.
is micro.
Alrighty. So...
I have no idea what I was throwing at here because I didn't know where to throw my locust.
I mean, may as well just use them. Get some damage done. You can kill some supply depots at the least. That's doing something. You're getting some free value out of that.
Yeah.
So that was good. The thing is, your overlords are getting destroyed.
I didn't have space for the corruptors, but I got them now.
Okay, killing some siege tanks that are caught out here. Oh no! You could have killed everything there, but you killed the rocks.
I didn't see this.
Oh.
I don't think I was looking.
Gotta watch your army. Gotta watch it.
I was waiting for the... I was looking at the corruptors. I don't know.
Yeah, looking at the liberators and the corruptors. And the corruptors not doing anything. They're just chilling. You might want to make sure you're controlling your corruptors. Send them always right to the liberators, because there's no defense for them anyways. And you have your corruptors hotkeyed. Or, yeah, added to a control group.
Yeah.
So there's no real excuse here. Oh, no! No! No!
What are
the,
they
the drones! You just lost like 30 drones to those Hellions. That one Hellion has 12 kills. Oh, shoot. That hurts. That hurts to see. Okay, let's go back to a higher speed. Creep Timber's doing work in the top right, but you lost 30 workers there, basically. You want to bring some roaches over there. Deal with those Hellions, because they're still alive. They're still there. They're still doing damage. They could have killed this base by now if they turned into Hellbats.
It's a drone barbecue.
Drone barbecue. Not again! Oh! The pain. The pain. Now you just use the... There we go. Let's go! killing workers, killing the planetary. Let's go. Nice.
The look is finally doing something.
They did
19
something, but then you lose the Swarmhost to some Hellbats.
I didn't think he noticed that.
Gotta watch your units. Watch your minimap. Make like if there's some red dots showing up, just check them. Just check them out.
This decision, I was like, I realized when I went in, I was like, oh wait, the Liberators are still.
The Liberators are still up. Yep.
This is sad. I could have actually won with this.
And the Broodlords. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you did never kill the Liberators. And anyways, if you're going Broodlords, you should have some Corruptors anyways. Because if they get some Vikings out, like a Viking, if you want to be able to kill it. If they get Liberators out for this type of thing, not as common, but Corruptors deal with that as well.
Yeah.
You want to have some Corruptors at least when you make Broodlords. Just as a rule of thumb for me, if I know that the Terran has starports, I don't use all of my Corruptors to make Broodlords. Because I want to have those few safety Corruptors that'll keep me alive until I have more Corruptors out. So, I mean, you're not dead. All the Broodlords are, but you aren't.
I actually felt like I was kind of dead.
If you keep fighting here, you are.
Yeah, now I'm dead.
Oh, maybe not yet. Okay, you can kill some Liberators. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. With your Corrosive Biles. Okay, you're missing all of your Corrosive Biles. Maybe not the best showing. But you can kill a lot of Liberators there. Why are you shooting in the middle of nowhere? You could have killed like 3 Liberators with those Biles. You got to be more precise. You can't just like shoot out a bunch of files. Take your time and just click all of your biles underneath. Do you have the indicator, by the way, for unit flyer units?
Oh yeah.
So make sure you're just hitting the biles underneath that. 3 for every Liberator, 3 for every siege tank. Take your time. You're not in a rush. You were in a safe spot here. You have to be patient against Mech when you're playing with Ravagers. Oh, whoops. I accidentally skipped back, my bad. I'm too quick, God. Too impatient. Speaking of patience. Okay. So let's actually take a look at what you could have done even now. Could be making an army. Wow. This army's over here. And you'll notice you have a little safe space here. You're not being targeted by anything, so you can use your biles to just take down these Liberators. They're all grouped up, so you can actually kill like 3 of them with 3 biles. If you spread them out a bit, you can kill probably all of these with these 8 or 7 now Ravagers that you have. You could actually just kill everything here if you play it right. Just be patient, use your biles. Make sure you're getting value out of every one of them. You're aiming each one instead of just shooting all of them in one spot. 3 on that tank. You don't want to be fighting in. I would hold position my Ravagers away from these before going in there so they don't just run into range of the Liberators when the siege tank shows up. And then just keep using the biles. You could have done a lot of damage there. A lot of his supply is actually, funny enough, in those Liberators. So had you killed some of them, you could actually be tied in supply right now, even ahead, because all of your Ravagers would not have died.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. A lot of your biles this game have been missing. Oh, sorry?
This is a really unfortunate game.
Yeah, really unfortunate. Okay, well, maybe it's not unfortunate. The Broodlord thing was unfortunate, but the rest of it was something that you could have just done better in general with. It didn't have to end up like this. There are definitely a lot of stuff you could have done to make this go better.
Yeah.
Well, why don't I ask you this right now?
Mhm.
We've gone over this game. You're basically just dead now.
Yeah.
What could you have done better? Just tell me 3 big things you could have done better.
I think the way I took engagements was too much of in a rush.
Yep. Not as precise.
That goes for even the very small ones. Um, Indecisiveness is also a really big thing, like especially early on
Yep.
with the push, and being more precise with my attack, less like
That's kind of with
Yeah.
the first one.
kind
I
of
would say.
Mm,
So
how do I say this?
there-
Keeping an eye on my units also.
That's a good one. There are also 2 other ones I'm thinking of right now that were pretty huge in this game.
Yeah.
I'll give you a hint for one of them. Drone barbecue.
Uh, Keeping an eye on the map more.
Exactly. Having more map vision, like some overlords spread around.
Yeah.
The Liberators killed a lot of your overlords, but they weren't really killing the overlords over here.
Oh,
You should always have at least one overlord in this area. You do have one there, but you didn't really watch it. So you have to keep an eye on your minimap in order to deal with Hellion run bys. But also another thing you could do, if you know that's one of your shortcomings, kind of like a band-aid over that, is putting, whenever you get a new base, put like 3 spine crawlers at it. 2 in the mineral line. Like let's look at the base in the top middle, the 12 o'clock position. So can you see my pings?
Yeah.
So having one right here, right here, and right here. So kind of in like a triangle. So 2 spines definitely covering the mineral line, and 2 spines covering the gases. You're leaving no real open area for him there. So that's usually what I do late game if I know the opponent is playing Hellions, because Hellions, they're pretty quick. A lot of the time in the late game, my army's really slow, so having static defense, it can definitely save the game sometimes. You would not have lost all of those drones if you just had 3 spines here.
Yeah.
You can even go up to like 5 spines too, if they're going really heavy in the run bys. That way you don't lose them against Hellbats. The spine crawlers, that is.
I'm just dead already.
Yeah, you're pretty dead. Another thing I was going to say, by the way, is... shoot, wait, what was it? So there was the map vision, for sure. You said there was the indecisiveness.
Yeah.
Your macro was really good. Like, if you just controlled your army better, you would be destroying here. But the other thing I was going to say is utilizing the Swarmhosts fully.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, you're just not using them. You want to try and use the Locusts on cooldown. Whenever they get off cooldown, use them again. Just constantly use the Locusts. They're really good swarm units. They do a lot of damage if you do that. And they can whittle down, they're really good for this, they can whittle down the opponent's army bit by bit. It's kind of like the same thing as abducts. You want to just like slowly take away some pieces of the army through abducting, or with the Swarmhost, sending in waves of locusts, cutting down his army. So when you do make a big push, he doesn't have anything to survive. All right. So do you want to test stuff in the unit tester?
Sure. What do you have in mind?
More hands-on, just like Swarmhost micro, and using the Ravagers more efficiently.
I'll set it up. Or...
You can make me leader. I already have it brought up.
Alright.
What server would you like? Central. Sorry.
Singapore.
Oh, I actually don't have Singapore set.
West US.
West, yeah. I do the emu wall, so I have Singapore deactivated. I'm sorry, man. Okay. So let's get into this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set up a field and set up some siege tanks, Hellbats, and Thors. Then I want you to take fights against that.
Alright.
So this is also something that you can just use to try out stuff. I'm going to go into the options, and then I'm going to put all armor and weapon upgrades through 3 and all abilities researched. Just so we're pretending this is like late game.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to control the left side. So let's get 15 Swarmhosts, some 10 Ravagers, and 15 Roaches. This is maybe a few more Roaches. Where are the Roaches? I forgot. There we go. This way you still have 85 drones, we're assuming. And for Terran, gonna get some Thors, maybe actually 5. Some siege tanks, decent amount of them. Some Hellbats. And we're also gonna get the Liberators. Maybe some more Hellbats.
Oh, geez, that's scary.
Yeah, it's pretty scary. But, like, I'm not gonna attack you. I'm not gonna attack into you. You have to attack into me. Oh, I can't control that. I need to change the control. There we go. So I'm just gonna set up my siege tanks and all this. Maybe I should have put more Swarmhosts, I think. But let's just do this. This is like, sending your your guys. So just try and chip away at my army. You going too far into range? Okay. So you're moving the locusts again. Select the locusts and move command them on top of the units. And then tell them to land on those siege tanks. Yep. Better. Nice. That's good. That's good. You can kill this whole army eventually with Swarmhosts. Okay. That's exactly what you want to be doing. Stuff like that. Just getting them in, getting them to go onto the siege tanks. Don't, yeah, make sure you put your units on hold position sometimes.
I'm still getting used to the control quickly.
Yep. Just try boxing them. Just try boxing the locusts.
Alright.
Careful about getting in range. Okay. Send them in. See? Okay. That's exactly what you want to be doing there. You don't want to be putting them on the closest available siege tank. You want to see if you can get them a bit more into, like, the meat of the army. Because friendly fire is going to be huge the more units that are close or that are nearby. Now, the thing is, Thors are pretty good. So if you ball up your locusts, you won't be able to get much damage done. But if you just keep the locusts spread out a bit as you are doing, you'll be able to get some damage done. Okay.
Not really much.
The locusts aren't even doing the damage here. It's the friendly fire. So sometimes what turn players will do to counter the Swarmhosts is they will unsiege their tanks when they come in to reduce the chance of friendly fire. So when this happens, that's when you go in with your Ravagers. And that's when you get the biles down. And then when I see your Ravagers are going in, I'm going to siege up again.
Okay.
You did lose a lot of your army before. It's not the greatest. But let's restart, and I want you to try and be as effective as possible with your dudes.
Alright.
Try sending in larger waves too. But let me get a nice setup here. Another one of these. Okay, we'll Split up the units a bit. Make sure I have the Hellbats with the tanks. Okay. Now, do not shift queue the movements for the Swarmhost if you can avoid it. You've been doing that and you've been losing some Swarmhosts. You want to stay in high numbers. You can afford... Yeah, see? Got within range there. You can actually afford to use them a bit earlier. And like a bit further out of range. Because you're not trying... When the Swarmhosts or the Locusts land, they're going to basically die immediately. So you can use that extra flying time, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. Send them in now. Start to bunch up a bit there. That's fine. Are you right-clicking on a unit to land them?
Yeah.
Try using the ability, the land ability.
What's...
On a location. It'll drop them in an area around that.
So I do this, and then...
So just Z-land. See,
like that?
yeah, you see that they spread around a bit?
Yeah.
So that makes it so they survive easier, like they won't take as much damage from area of effect. And since they take up more area, when the siege tanks hit them, they will damage more enemy units through friendly fire. See, that's exactly what you want. See that? That's so good. If you do that every time, maybe not every time, but if you do that a lot of the time, you will find that you'll just be able to melt mech armies. Because every time he loses one of these units, he has to rebuild it. But you just automatically get units back. So that's pretty cool. That's the strength of the Swarmhost. You can take really cost-effective engagements. Okay, you do the land. This is going to be a big one. 2 siege tanks dead right there. Boom.
Pretty bad.
Yeah. So, let's see you do that again. Oh no, those are coming in. I'm gonna unsiege. Try and kill those. Oh, now you're within range. Oh, I lost some units. Dang it. This is not looking good for me. This is the type of thing you want to keep doing in a fight.
Against Mack, yeah.
Yep. You're the aggressor. You want to keep up the momentum.
I need to deliver it.
Okay. See your armies coming in. And now you get out. You lose a decent amount, but you also killed a lot of the liberators. And look at the army now. You barely lost anything, except for some roaches and a couple of Swarmhosts. Because you let the Swarmhosts get a bit too close. You can avoid that.
Yeah.
Oh no. And now, no Hellbats. The Locusts are still alive, and you're cleaning up the army. You get out here, get out. The Locusts are all dead. Like, I basically have to chase you now. But since I don't really have any Hellbats, the Locusts are going to do a lot of damage. Or they can. And that's when you go in, throw a few biles while you're running away. I didn't actually mean to walk back into those. If I'm chasing you like this, I want to see like how you bile if I'm chasing you. So come to the middle of the map. Okay, so I'm going to start chasing you now. I want you to throw some biles. A bit too far forward. Look at the movement speed of my units. Start understanding them. If I were to walk forward into that, that'd be really bad for me. So that's like a way of kiting. Yeah, so this one right here, that was a good bile. The other two were like kind of useless. So let's just assume that I'm following your units straight up. I'm going to right click on one of your Ravagers. So let's just assume you keep moving in this direction. See, that's exactly what you want to be doing. And you want to be using the Swarmhost on repeat. Like that. There, you cleaned up the whole army. Well done. You said it was a scary looking army.
Yep.
So when the units aren't really sieged like that and they're running away, that's when you can just let them A-move and do their thing. Sometimes the landability is better, but sometimes you can also just get away with the Swarmhost auto chase thing. So yeah, you did it properly. That was really good. Now, I realize actually that I added too many roaches. You're not supposed to have this many roaches because roaches are basically useless. You just want to have some. Let's put the rest of the supply into Swarmhost. Put 2 more of these. And 2 more Swarmhosts.
What's the ideal drone count for a roach?
You want to have 80 drones plus against Mech anyways. You want to have a really good economy.
Alright.
Yep. So, let's get these set up. Spread out the units a little bit. Oops, a bit too much. Thing that you'll see Terrans doing a lot is they will have their Hellbats with their siege tanks to make it so the AoE done is reduced. But now you have a lot more Swarmhosts. So now you can do a lot more damage. So send in a full wave of those locusts and see what you can do with that.
Full wave?
A full wave. Sometimes you can do that if they're the defensive one. Make sure you're like, look at that. That's a lot of damage. If you Z-landed that in the middle of that army,
accidentally right clicked it,
yeah. Then you would have just killed everything. Not everything, but you would have killed basically all the Thors. And then you would have been just vibing. Just in a good, strong position, I guess. You'd kill a lot of units for free. So now wait for the whole wave, and then practice sending that in. You don't want to use a whole wave if you're afraid of them attacking you. However, if you're on their side of the map, you can get away sometimes with using a whole wave. The Thor's doing some damage. Z-land. Big damage. Maybe landing a bit earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm going to reset all cooldowns, I think, by doing that. Let me just make so I can control those as well. So if I press this... Okay, it does reset the cooldown. Cool. So land now. Boom. Big. See? You can do that. Now do it again. Go for it again.
Oh.
So, now that you have that big wave coming in, I have to unsiege all of my tanks because the AoE is going to be insane. So now you send in your other dudes.
So
you don't just go for the Liberators. You can just corrosive bile the army as well.
The Liberators actually have to move inside, I think, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, sometimes no, you don't have to. You can. The range on Ravagers is much stronger. So now the tanks are sieged again. Send in the Swarmhosts. The Locusts when they are ready. Yeah, when they are ready. You have to be patient with this. You don't want to try and end them with one wave. You want to slowly kill their army. Okay. The dude's coming in. So we got this done. Trying to target to get better damage. And then I see the dude's coming in. You have to be quicker with your Ravagers. And actually, if you use a half wave, time the other wave with when you're moving in your Ravagers.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because not only do so let's actually pause here before that dies.
Right.
So not only do you get the Locusts out to do the extra damage, since the tanks aren't sieged, the Locusts will die really quickly, but they also absorb attacks. They basically are tanking for your Ravagers. Your Ravagers are getting free hits in, while the Locusts are just taking all the damage when the units are unsieged. This is especially good if there are no Hellbats around, because that means the Locusts will survive longer, and they also deal insane damage. So, hopefully, I think we don't really need to go through too much now. Like, you're starting to get it. You can set this up and practice yourself, because I wasn't really microing there. But yeah, that's the kind of micro that you use for that. So if you were doing this in your last game that you showed me, then you would just straight up destroy that guy. It would have been so one-sided. Be patient with the biles. Make sure you're using 3 per liberator. If they're grouped up, you can just spray a bunch in that area. But that's that, man.
Learned a lot from that one.
Did that help you out?
Yep, super.
Yeah, so I was mostly focusing on the engagements that you're taking and how to use your composition, because you were asking for that. I can't really help you with refining the opener because I don't really understand it too much. But maybe you'll see some more success. But it will take a decent amount of practice to get used to. Absolutely. So make sure you're forcing yourself to do that a decent amount.
Yeah.
The landing is just very good. So I believe that brings us to like the end of the session now.
Alrighty. Okay, thanks, man. Super. It was really helpful today.
Yeah.
Especially those soup lines. Yeah.
Of course. Could you message me in like a couple of days after you try this out a bit and tell me how it's going? Or just like come into stream and tell me? Because I'm really curious. I want to see if like, I want to see how easily you start beating Terrans. So. Or Mech Terrans, rather.
Oh, wait. What? Sorry, one last question.
Oh, yeah.
For bio.
Uh-huh.
What would I have infestors?
I like to add in infestors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The drone count for that?
Same thing.
80 drones.
80 plus. Yep. Well, that's you usually want to have 80 plus in a macro game. That's just a general thing.
Okay.
If you're playing against bio, so fungal growth with corrosive bile is really good because it makes it harder for them to dodge. But also, if you land some nice fungals on the army, it makes it really, really difficult for the medevacs to keep on healing everything, because everything is getting damaged. You can basically kill all of the marines that they have with 2 fungals. Well, 4 to cover more area. So a marine dies from 2 fungal growths if it's not being healed.
Alright.
So if you can get some fungals on the army, it's really good, but you also have to do the standard thing where you get the corrosive biles on siege tanks. And yeah, make sure you're splitting your army a bit if you're going to go attack into siege tanks. You don't want to just be in a ball, because that's where siege tanks shine. They like hitting a lot of units. So just like part your units a bit, section them off a little, because that could go a long way in a fight. All right.
Thanks again for the session.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
I know we went a bit over time.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm fine with going over time if I don't have anything else planned, and I think there's other stuff to go through, so it's fine.
Alrighty.
Have a good one, dude.
Big thanks. I'll see you on stream.
Yeah, have a
You have to go work.
see you next time. Stay safe, dude. Good luck. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this coaching session and hopefully picked up a thing or two from it as well. If you liked the video, make sure to drop a like. If you know someone who could benefit from this, I implore you to share this video with them. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel right now, so any help I can get with that type of thing is definitely appreciated. So that brings us to the end of the video. Have a good night, guys. There we go. See you later.